So, episode 5 of Lost in Space, and at first I was kind of like, what is this story about? I mean, there were things going on and things happening, but I was really sort of finding it difficult to sort of gravitate to any one particular thing. I guess this was more of a Dr. Smith being duplicitous episode, because I felt kind of dirty at the end of it. It was like, ugh, that, Parker Posey was just laying it on thick. Can we talk about as well how big Parker Posey's hair is getting? At some point it's just going to be this 6-foot streak. It's like she's got a Mount El Capitan stuck on her head. It's just ridiculous. It just goes up. But yeah, the story just seemed to be more of a, things are going to starting to go bad, and they started to weave in little things here and there throughout the story about the planet, about the sun rising quicker than usual. I knew there was going to be something like that in the episode. There always got bound to be, isn't there? Also, they've also introduced the fact that the camp leader is a bit of a bell end. I knew they were going to do that as well. It's not great being right about these sort of things, but I mean, it was just kind of obvious, that because they're going to build to a conflict at some point, that the camp leader was not necessarily a bad guy, but just a bit of a douche. And now that the robot has been outed amongst the camp, it's left in a place now whereby the robot is protecting Will, and it's going to be a Frankenstein story. I think they're going to sort of get their pitchforks and, oh, we want the monster burnt. That seems to be the direction of the story. I'm not sure if that's the way they're going. They could 180 it. It feels like this is going to do, the Frankenstein story where they want the monster brought out and burnt and everybody's going to be rah rah rah. Speaking of monsters, the beastie in the episode, whilst looking 95% great, it had the 5% when it was up on top of the Tower of Light. The CGI kind of let it down a little bit. It's like we saw too much of it. Of course, the brilliant part was when it started to crack and crumble, and the tower started to come down, and then you just had people running around everywhere. Just nobody seemed to be running in any one direction. They just seemed to be going round, and I just had a bit of a chuckle at that moment. It was like, that's something that everybody panic and run in any pick a direction and just run in it. Why they were the thing was up on top? Why panic? And you're all standing around looking at it. Why don't you all just sort of like go, I'm backing away because that thing's big, so I'm gonna be actually reversing up a little bit. You had, is it Maureen? I want to say Maureen. It's doing her ballooning. Bad things happen to that woman all the time. She got snared by a weather balloon and dragged to a precipice. And how far away from camp? Why does she need to be that far away from camp? I know she probably needed an open field, but surely where the Jupiter 2 is pretty open. It's open enough to launch a weather balloon. But you know what? These little things I can just sweep aside now and just enjoy. I'm not sure I can't remember the guy's. Is it Don? I think the guy who rescued the Angela and I nearly said Agent Smith, Dr. Smith. Yeah, I'm not sure what his role is in this. I mean, he seems to have some sort of comic relief going on. He seems to be a very Han Solo-y type character. So, yeah, and I'm not sure what's happening between him and Judy. I don't know. I mean, she claims to be 18, but you know, he still seems a lot older, and I felt uncomfortable about these two being left alone in a room together. It just didn't feel very very nice at all. It felt creepy, in fact. But you know what? I'm still enjoying the show. It's still good, and it's a shame that some of the things that they play to in this episode, like for example, Will not telling his father. I like the kid who plays Will Robinson. But the script that he's given, whereby he doesn't tell his father and doesn't tell his father, then he comes back and bites him in the ass. He's not very trusting, and yet he somehow is trusting of Dr. Smith. So, but I felt that what was good about the dynamic that they've set up with the show is because he has distanced himself from his father. That's why he has an attachment to the robot, is that he feels that the robot can protect him when nobody else can. So I think that's quite good in the way that they've done the story setup for that. And there's a little bit of explanation there that just helps you understand his relationship with the robot. But yeah, as the show's going, I thought episode 5 was a good little takeover episode. You know, it was there was enough in the episode for you to take more, to get more out of it. Then it didn't necessarily go anywhere. It just gave you a bit more information and a bit more of a. This was more of a Dr. Smith episode, whereby she's going around and explaining to people and lying to people about how she got where she is. You know, she lied to Don, she lied to Judy, and they always do this thing whereby, first of all, she always has this piece of music. I don't know if you've noticed this, but she has this little piece of music which is sort of like the dun dun dun. You know, it's almost that sort of music. But every time she's on screen, it's kind of there, and the camera just stays on it for just a little bit, just to let the smile just drip off her face. But yeah, you know, it was a takeover episode, but it was a good episode, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. So that's what I thought of episode 5 of Lost in Space.